What's going on, everybody? Extremely special guest today out of, guess what? Out of Australia, way over there. Australia to California, guys. Very excited for this. Introducing former Judo Olympian, one of the pioneers of Australian MMA, UFC fighter, and current judo instructor, if I'm correct, Mr. Daniel Kelly. Woo! Yeah, very pumped. How are you doing, my friend?
Very good, thank you. Very good. No, thanks for having me on.
Oh no, of course. We're very honored and feel privileged for this. Real quick, how's your day been going? I know over there it's very early, correct? It's morning time.
9 a.m. We've at the moment my kids are still on school holidays. We just finished cooking breakfast for them. We've got two dogs. One's only 3 months old, so she's a bit of a handful. So they've taken them outside, so it's a little bit of peace for now. My wife's gone for a run, so it's a little bit peaceful just for now.
Okay, awesome. Well, over here we're looking at pretty much evening time. So again, we appreciate you adjusting with the time difference.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
So right off the bat, how have you been dealing with the quarantine? Has it affected your life in any way?
Badly for the business. Obviously, we've just gone back into a second lockdown because we're in Melbourne, Victoria.
Okay.
That means my business is closed. I've still got my elite judo athletes training, and obviously the pro MMA fighters are still training. But the actual customers who I rely on and appreciate very much, most of them are back in lockdown, and we've had to go back onto an online forum for running classes, which is really hard. I mean, I've lost about 50% of my membership probably, and almost my whole kids program as well. So you can look at that, but I also appreciate the 50% who have hung around, because we were locked down for 3 months at the first, only open for 2.5 weeks under some pretty strict guidelines, and now we're locked down again for another 6 weeks. So it's been a really hard time for small business over here.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? You're actually looking at it with a great way, like you said, for the 50% that's stuck there. Thankful for. So that's good, right?
Yeah.
As far as you mentioned training online. You said how it was difficult. What's one of the hardest things to do? Of course, I know the contact thing isn't there, but what's some of the most difficult things with teaching online?
Yeah, it's the contact thing. I mean, the kids' judo hasn't been too bad because there's often siblings that do it. Adult judo is very difficult because you've got a band and you're turning in unless, couples live together who can do it. And obviously BJJ, the same thing. Our CrossFit program and our boxing program has been okay, but we only just started doing boxing at the gym in January. So it's been difficult. Our CrossFit's been fantastic. CrossFit instructor Sarah Collins, who also fights MMA as well and is former Commonwealth Games athlete for judo. She's been running the CrossFit program, and that's been a saving grace for us. But yeah, it's been really hard considering the gym or the business had a great start to the year. It's been pretty difficult.
Been an adjustment for sure, I assume. As far as your self-training during the quarantine, have you a lot of it trained at home, or are you still out in the gyms?
We've been going to the gym. Because we got special permission for the athletes, the judo athletes to compete, and then also our MMA guys to compete. I've been in there. I haven't done as much training as I should have. I've got a little mark now today because we're a little bit light on partners. So I'm gonna have to jump in and do some training again, which is good for me as well. But yeah, I've still been at the gym quite a bit, at least once or twice a day. We've been in at the gym. Training and stuff. It's just managing time.
Yeah. Okay. So you do 2 a days. You said. How long are your sessions? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. No. So morning. So Monday morning, for example, is about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half. And then the afternoon with yesterday was about an hour. So they're not long. We don't do super long sessions. We do high intensity, and obviously the strength conditioning stuff that they do outside of that. That's where they can build up a little bit more as well. Okay,
for sure. Well, I know you were a professional athlete. I'm not. I do like to train though, to try to maintain. What is I assume you still hit the weights and all that, correct?
I haven't done much, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm the fattest I've ever been. I decided to have a little bit of a break from myself. I've been
Yeah.
making weight for, well, 27 years or something like that. So I have blown out a little bit. I've decided to start training again, hence getting marked up a little bit. But
Yeah.
it's more to help the guys out who are still training. We've been a little bit light on for numbers. But yeah, no, I haven't done for this last week, sorry, this little bit of time, I've done more than I have in the last year and a half since I last fought.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, so it's really difficult because when I'm coaching, it's difficult to train as well. And because I'm coaching so much, I've got the elite judo guys and then the MMA guys and the business side of things. It's hard to find time for myself. So I'm just working out the best ways to manage that as well.
Okay. No, good. Great. Great insight. So when you were hitting the weights a lot, for an aspiring guy that wants to be buff, I want to be buff, right? How would I conduct it with your schedule? How would you do it when you were doing it?
We didn't do lots of heavy stuff. It was more conditioning based, CrossFit based kind of
Okay.
deal. Not much bodybuilding stuff because I had to make 84 kilos and
Yeah.
that was hard work. So I couldn't actually bulk up and put weight on. I was in a calorie deficit for 7 or 8 weeks, trying to get the weight down, not put it back on. So it was
Yeah.
more about full range of movement as much as my old body could, and being strong across the whole range of movement rather than buffing up, if you want to say that.
Yeah. No, great. And see, one of my weaknesses is eating. I'm Hispanic. I love to eat. I love enchiladas, all that good stuff, right? Did you have a go-to meal, when you're consistently fighting?
No, yeah, a little bit. What I found is I liked spicy food more when I was
Ah,
cutting weight,
okay.
which was interesting, probably because of the sodium in it as well. But my wife's Hungarian, so she
Oh, okay.
cooks really good heavy stews, which aren't great when you're making weight, but you'd always have just a little bit because it's good for the soul eating eating the food you love. But yeah, it was a long process for me to make weight to 84. So I was strict for a good 2 months leading into a fight.
Oh, wow. No, that's good. Yeah, again, that's why you're the pro athlete and I'm just the guy doing the interview, right? Um, so we saw that you've been doing judo since you were 7 years old. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So who was your biggest influence in doing that? Parents, I assume?
Yeah, my dad did judo.
Okay.
He got me into it, and then I think I was in grade 5, so I would have been about 11 or something, and I watched some of the Seoul Olympics, and from there my dream was to become an Olympian. So, and that kind of I just never stopped, just kept carrying on. Played local AFL when I was a kid, which I loved, but yeah, my dream was always to go to the Olympics. So I never stopped.
Yeah. No, awesome. And right. And you did it. You did everything. We also see that you've been Australian champion 9 times, which is a great accomplishment. It's an amazing accomplishment. Being that is, we know with much success, there comes a little bit of hate too, right? Was there a lot of people, giving you hate on the way, or by your 5th championship, 6th championship? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's always lots of hate out there. That's okay. What's the saying? Lions don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. So
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I couldn't care less. And it happens in MMA, happens in all sport. If you're focused on what you're doing and not really worry about what anyone else is doing, there's going to be people who want to try and chop you down. That's normal. That's an unfortunate part of human nature.
It is. Unfortunately, it is. And I was thinking that because I'm thinking like, okay, maybe by the 3rd championship, like, okay, then 4th, 5th, by the 9th, they're like, all right, you know what? No more. And then the hate just floods in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I qualified for 4 Olympic Games, and I always picked my times to be good or ready to go around those times. And I think that irritated people a little bit too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Hey, like you said, who cares, right? You got to ignore the sheep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing I want to get into before I do forget, you had a nickname, Dad Bod, for a little bit. right? And I know it was a popular thing online. Did that stem from the online community, or was that from something else?
No, no, no. That was all online stuff. I didn't even know, and then it started popping up, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake! And I don't even think I looked that bad.
You didn't. You really didn't.
But, but they found something and they ran with it. So yeah, no, I didn't. I certainly got a dad bod now, but I thought when I was fighting, I was nowhere near the sloppiest rig going around. But what can you do?
Yeah, no, that blame it on us Americans. We're silly like that. We're silly.
Yeah. Once you grab something, you run with it. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. One thing too, I wanted to ask again before I forget is if you have any hobbies or anything that your fans don't necessarily know about you that you'd like to share.
Not really. With a family, with the gym, with all the coaching, I need a hobby. I mean, I definitely need one, but it's hard. It's hard to have time. I mean, I think as I get a little bit older, I'll need to find a little bit more time for that. But I mean, the start of the year, for example, my eldest son has some health issues, and he had a kidney transplant at the start of the year, and my wife actually gave him the kidney. But
amazing.
That was on the 9th on the 9th of January. By the time we got locked down in March, I'd had 4 trips overseas for coaching, the UFC and also 3 for judo, and then we went into lockdown. So this year's been turbulent, let's say, to say the least. But yeah, so I don't have any time. And now that the lockdown we've had, I haven't been able to do that much stuff. It's been good to spend time at home, but yeah, I need a hobby. I do go out and take a stroll in the bush sometimes, a little bit, but not that much yet.
Okay, well, good. Maybe this will inspire you to get a hobby, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. Another thing too, I wanted to ask is about music. Did you have any go-to tracks? Not just when you're fighting, but when you're training and stuff like that.
So we on Wednesday, it annoys the guys because Wednesday I put Queen on every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that's all we listen to. And now they've just accepted it. They go, it's Queen Wednesday. So in Australia, we've got a station called Gold 104.
Okay.
And it's all the oldies from the 80s and 70s, which is like kind of my early 90s, which is kind of my era. And the bad thing is, like, songs that were popular when I was growing up, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's on the old guy station now, which is what I listen to. So it's a lot more old guy stuff than we used to. But most of the MMA fighters anyway are bogans, so they're happy with the older rock stuff. But the judo guys get a bit annoyed. They want this, they want that. So yeah.
Now, do you ever give in to those judo guys, or it's just your way or the highway?
With music, I'll give in because there's not that much other leniency, to be honest. So music is a negotiation point, but not much else is, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned Queen. Is Queen what Queen song is your favorite?
I like "Don't Stop Me Now." That's a good one. But I mean,
yes.
Queen's got so many different songs. I mean, I love U2 as well. All the old rock songs are good. So yeah, we just put those on. Aussie rock. I used to walk out to a song by the Choir Boys called "Run to Paradise." I love that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So more that kind of stuff. Definitely not the rap music that's very popular over your side of the world.
Yeah.
Would prefer to stick a fork in my eye to listen to that.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I liked it back in the day. Currently, right now, it sounds very similar. A lot of auto-tuning and stuff like that. I don't want to hate on that stuff and get, lit up in comments, stuff like that. But that's kind of how it is nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind. I can say I don't like it at all.
Exactly. So my girl's actually a big Queen fan herself. She mentioned that just the other day that Adam Lambert is currently their singer right now. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good. I mean, you're never going to have someone who fits Freddie's shoes, but he's good. And my wife and I were actually looking at going to see them when they came down. Obviously, everything's been canned at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, they're really good. And he's good. He's a good fit for them.
No, he is. He definitely is. I agree. So speaking of that, everything getting canceled, a lot of uncertainty going out there. If you had to guess, I know there's nobody knows the answer. When do you think all this is going to stop? Because right now it just seems like you just know nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I've got no idea. I've got no
Yeah.
idea, and I've deliberately stayed very non-political about it because I run a business and it's not necessary. Even though I do have views.
Yeah.
I mean, I think until a vaccine comes out or people just accept that it's going to be around, it's going to be hard. I mean, we thought we were through the worst of it down here in Victoria, and now we're in lockdown again. But our premier actually did a really bad job around the quarantine hotels when people were coming back. It's been a lot of media on him hiring security companies to do it, and they weren't properly trained, and then it's just spread. And we've got very minimal cases compared to you guys, but
Yeah.
everyone's panicking down here, and we're back in lockdown, and a lot of businesses are suffering, especially like martial arts businesses. A lot of my friends and peers who have got gyms are going to really struggle to survive. So it's pretty crappy time, to be honest, in that regard.
No, it is. I agree. And again, I know everybody has different views, beliefs, stuff like that. Like I'm sure you do too, like you said. Personally, I do think we do need to somewhat be exposed because we can't hide for the rest of our lives. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's one of those things
Absolutely.
where we can't hide from the flu, can't hide from other things, other diseases, viruses. So again, I don't know the answers. I'm not in that realm, but it's just tough.
Yeah, it is tough, and it's really hard for us down here because the government's taking a hard line in one area, but they're doing shortcuts in another area, and you're like, well, your shortcuts have put us in this position here. And then, of course, politicians being politicians, we can't look back, we need to look forward. And you're like, yeah, but you're the ones who have screwed us in that regard. But you know what? Can't do anything about it. I'm worried for the Olympics next year. I mean, I've got one girl who I coach at the club who's in a qualifying position at the moment, and she needs to move a little bit more, and because we're meant to have 7 qualifying events left before the lockdown.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's really scary because that's like 3 years work for people.
Oh my god.
Down the drain. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but I'm worried. Everyone keeps saying the vaccine's going to fix everything, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, and yeah, we'll agree on that for sure. Again, appreciate your insight. Again, I do want to talk about your Ultimate Fighter experience. That's always
Yeah.
I'm always so intrigued in that aspect. Reality TV meets fighting meets whatever media. How was your experience on that show?
It was a horrible experience. Horrible. I didn't fight well. I didn't realize how much I'd missed my family. I didn't enjoy the cameras being in my face. I did make some good friends on the Australian team out of it, but yeah, I didn't enjoy the experience at all. Thing is, if you told me would I do it again to fast track, because it pretty much fast tracks your route into the UFC, yeah, I'd do it again. I'd try and go into it with probably a different mindset, but yeah, I did not enjoy the experience at all. I mean, Jake Matthews and another guy who was in there, Tyler, who were both 20 when they went in, they loved it. They didn't have found. They're like, oh, this is great. We got food here. We can do this. We can do that. I'm just like, this is horrible. There's cameras around. I don't know what's going on with the family. And to be honest, I was older than the coaches in our team. I mean, Kyle's become a good friend now, but I was older than those guys, and I probably have more coaching experience than some of them as well. So it was difficult in that regard, and I have issues with control as well, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so it was an interesting time.
Yeah. Was it one of those things where the opportunity came and you said, "Oh, I have to take it," or one of those things where at first you were excited to take it?
I was excited to take it because the cutoff was 35 to get into the house, and I was 35. So I went,
wow.
if I'm going to make a run at this, because I only started MMA when I was like mid-30s.
Yeah,
so,
right start.
Yeah, so I was like, if I'm going to have a proper run at this, then this is going to be a pathway to that. And look, it all worked out okay in the end. Yeah, but the experience in the house wasn't good.
Okay. Is it one of those things like we see on TV where they over dramatize things, or is it legit as possible? As in like versus other reality TV shows.
No, they don't. I mean, I think they just, by taking the phone away, no television, camera crews everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of testosterone in those houses.
Yeah, I bet.
It kind of builds it up. Our season was pretty calm in comparison to others. I mean, you Americans go crazy in those kind of situations. The Canadians and Aussies, it wasn't too bad, but yeah, no, it's there was no manufacturing of anything. Like if there was some drama, they'd take you straight down and have a chat about it to try and get some kind of cut on it. But
Okay.
but yeah, they didn't actually manufacture anything. It's enough, you know. You're having to make weight. You're away from your families. There's a whole heap of guys who are fighters in the house. It's enough to make for interesting viewing.
Yeah. No. Okay. Good. I appreciate all of that. Again, I'm very intrigued in that stuff. You're right. Us Americans are crazy about that stuff. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, you guys love that drama. I mean, Kyle, we spoke to after, and he's just like, I just followed one of the guys around because I knew it was going to be interesting. What happened? Because he was nuts. So I went, okay. wasn't so much of that in our house.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And like I said before we even did this, I was like, oh, I gotta ask him about the Ultimate Fighter. I have to know about the Ultimate Fighter. I just had to know about it. You had your first UFC fight, your debut in 2014. Were you very nervous about that, or can you walk us through that experience?
I was really nervous. So
okay.
After the house, I mean, I was a lot of questioning of myself, and I got another fight. And yeah, it was a big, for me, it was a big thing of, do I belong there? Am I at that level? Can I do? You got to remember when we got in 2014. I mean, Rob was fighting his first fight at middleweight. Anthony Perosh and Soa, they were in there, but a lot of them had spent a lot of time overseas, and so did Kyle. So I didn't know how we go doing it from home.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a big question mark of, do I belong? Am I good enough? Can I still do this at 35? And so yeah, it was a big validation, that fight. Big validation. And I'm my own worst critic when it comes to that kind of stuff. So regardless of what anyone else said externally, online, or anything like that, it paled into insignificance compared to what I was thinking and the internal talk I had. So it was great. That was a fantastic experience.
Oh no, awesome! And as you said, you were nervous, but you won the fight via Kimura lock, right?
Yeah.
How was the praise afterwards? Was it just like a big weight lifted off your shoulder? Afterwards, how did you feel?
Yeah, it was a big relief. Big relief was like, oh, I can do this. Like I can beat guys from on the other side of the world who have got a much more advanced and mature training system over there in the States. Victoria. Yeah, Victoria as well. We didn't even have a cage legal in Victoria down then. So we were still fighting in rings back then.
Jeez.
So that was how unevolved we were at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was big. And I mean, Jake had won a fight in Auckland a few months before that. So I saw that, and him and I had been training together, and his dad was very helpful with all correspondence to the UFC. So that was kind of a good platform as well.
Okay. No, good. Awesome. We know your last UFC fight was in 2018. Didn't go your way, whatever the case may be. Are you officially done competing or fighting, or is there a little itch back of your head saying, well, maybe we'll see?
There's always an itch. I did 2 training sessions yesterday, and my body's killing me. But the itch is there. It's just it's hard. It's hard. I'm 43 this year. I've got a lot of guys I coach. It's an opportunity now for me to get in. Now the business is running as well as not running at all at the moment, to do a bit of extra training and just see. It's about opportunity popping up as well. I mean, I certainly don't want to just fight on some local show here. It has to be something interesting.
Okay.
As well.
you're not officially retired then, right?
Well, I
For us
kind of
fans
am,
out there.
but yeah, I kind of am, but I need to look. Being as fat as I am, I can't say anything other than I'm retired.
Yeah.
But there's always an itch there, and there's always a could I still do it one more time kind of thing. But that's the stupidity of all fighters. I think they all think they can do it one more time. But we'll see. We'll see. I'd love to have an opportunity to say fight in Japan or something like that, considering of the judo background and all that kind of stuff. But no, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, great, great. That brings me to my next question. Being that you do train a lot, and obviously, you're a pro. I know DC and Stipe are having their big fight in August. Their heavyweight bout. If you just never know. If Dana White said, "Hey, some guy pulled out. Is there any way you can make weight in on their card? Would you do it? And is there enough time?"
Not to make 84. I don't think I'll ever make 84 again.
Yeah,
if I was to
205.
do it a bit. 205. How many weeks is that?
We're looking at, I want to say about 5 weeks from now.
I couldn't make 93 in 5 weeks. maybe in a couple of months. But I mean, our boys that we coach here are very close to getting matched and booked again. So we obviously will be moving into training camp or training preparation mode now. We train all year round, and yeah, I'll obviously have to help them out a little bit more, so there'll be more training. But I think they're looking at September potentially for fights. So by that time, I should be in some kind of shape other than round.
Okay,
So.
okay, good. Well, I just ask because there's a lot of guys pulling out all the time. I'm sure you hear about it.
Yeah.
Just COVID and other things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous at the moment. I mean, I think there's a pretty big process to get guys, especially from Australia, because our quarantine rules are so strict, of actually getting guys over to do stuff as well. And then there's the whole visa process that the boys will have to go through to actually fight in the US at the moment, if it's going to be in the US. And there's a big process involved at the moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, being that is, I don't know. I know it is more strict over there. I don't know exactly how it is. Do you prefer it that way, or do you like it? Because I'm in California, we're kind of strict too, but in Texas and Florida, they're a lot more loosey-goosey. Which way do you prefer it?
I think we could be lightened a little bit,
Okay.
But again, the big problem we have down here is how long the test results take to get back. It's like 3 or 4 days. Now, if there was a test where you could go bang and within an hour that result's back, that's a different story, because then you can be on top of checking things all the time. But that's not around at the moment. So look, it could be a little bit looser. I'm happy that it's not. But we've had some interesting things down here. I mean, the Australians, we got called, all Australians come home. And it's been, 6 months that this thing's been going? Yeah. And people are still just coming home now. You're like, come on. If you wanted to come home, you should have come home earlier. Yeah. So and that's kind of dragging out. And there's a lot of cases in the hotels still because of that. So they have to be strict in that regard at the moment. Okay.
No, good. Again, great insight. I have no idea how it works outside of California. So it's great to hear. I know I had mentioned, the DC Stipe fight coming up. Are you a fan of the sport still? Do you still watch MMA, UFC, Bellator, all that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I watch the fights on the weekend.
What do you think of the fights?
Good fights.
Yeah.
Good fights. The main event was, I mean, look, Usman did what he had to do to win.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Volk and Holloway was a great fight, and Peter Yan's an absolute beast.
Monster.
And Amanda Ribas, who's a judo girl as well, she did a fantastic job. So they were really good fights, and Rose was tough as well. So no, they were good fights, enjoyable to watch.
No, for sure. Now you mentioned the Holloway fight. There was a lot of controversy on that. Did you think it was justified, or do you kind of side more with the controversy side?
No, it was a close fight.
It was
a close fight. Like 1 and 2 were Holloway. I think 4 and 5 were Volk. 3 was a flip of the coin. Now, if you're going to leave it like that, it's going to be close. You can't complain. It wasn't like it was a complete blowout for Holloway.
Yeah.
And Volk got the decision. It was a close fight. So either way it goes, you have to accept that.
No, I agree, and I do think people are just remembering maybe the first few rounds, which is why they're thinking this big controversial aspect of it. But yeah, it was close. Definitely was close.
Yeah. So yeah, I've seen a lot of that stuff, and I feel sorry because Volk's a great guy, tough as nails, and I have to take my hat. He made adjustments mid-fight, so things weren't going his way. He went straight to Plan B.
Yeah,
and that won him the fight. Like, to be able to do that mid-fight, to switch your whole game plan around, that's a high-level athlete right there.
No, I 100% agree. Who are some of your favorite fighters to watch currently right now?
To watch my guys, obviously, Jake Matthews, Jimmy Crute. Love watching those guys. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love watching Volk, love watching Rob Whittaker, all the guys down our way. I mean, they're the most enjoyable ones to watch. And obviously, everyone loves Masvidal. Everyone loves the Diaz brothers. So yeah. So those ones, McGregor, whenever he fights, there's always big hype around that. So
yeah.
Peter Yan, I do enjoy watching too. That guy's awesome to watch.
He's a killer.
The bantamweight division is on fire at the moment. So it's really cool to watch all that.
No, it definitely is. Now, is there a fight you're looking forward to at the moment? I know I mentioned the heavyweights because I'm a sucker for them too. Is there anything you're looking forward to?
Rob versus Darren Till. That's in a couple of weeks. Really looking forward to that. Rob's good. He was down about 3 weeks ago down here doing some training. So for 3 or 4 days. So he's can't wait for that. I love watching Rob Whittaker fight. He's awesome.
Well, I know who you're going for in that fight, obviously. but how do you predict that fight going? If you had to predict a round finish, how do you see it going? Because Till's a monster too.
Till is a monster. I just think if Rob goes back to the old Rob of all the movement stuff and he just cuts angles so well. I think Till is got awesome stand up, but he's much more of a forward guy. And so is Rob, but Rob's angles inside the pocket are fantastic. So I think Rob actually stops him, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome. Well, you know what? We appreciate you giving your UFC fan perspective about it. I like to know what the fighters think about it. It's one thing when us as fans sitting home on our couches watching it, but from a fighter's perspective, I love hearing it. So thank you very much for that.
No worries.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You gave me way more time than I thought you would. I know you're a busy guy and all that, but we appreciate everything you've said and how honest you've been with us. Been amazing. Thank you for everything you've said. At this point, would you like to say anything? The floor is yours.
No, thank you. No, we haven't got much to say at the moment. I mean, everyone's got to stay safe, work through this. It's a worldwide, headache at the moment we have to deal with. Outside of that, we're all good. Stay tuned. Hopefully the boys down here will get some fights booked soon, and we'll be traveling over the other side to fight as well.
Awesome, great. Oh, and last thing too, for an aspiring fighter, up and coming fighter that maybe needs a little bit of a push, what would your words of encouragement be for that fighter?
Pick a team, stick with them. Consistency, structure, and accountabilities are the way you're going to get where you want to go.
Okay, so stick with it. Don't be bouncing around. None of that.
No. We've had issues. We've had discussions about that. Pick your team. Stay with them. Give it some time. Be accountable. Be consistent. The improvements you make as a fighter aren't leading into a fight. They're in between fights. So a lot of guys just train when they've got a fight coming up. They're not going to improve. It's going to be the same guy there was before because you're getting ready for a fight. And yeah, they're probably the big things for me.
Okay, great. Well, that's all great. You've been amazing. Again, we appreciate your time, my friend. Again, I know you're busy. I know you're going to train today, right? You're going to train people today?
Yeah, we've got a judo session this afternoon.
Awesome. Well, again, appreciate it very much. Hopefully we can talk again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. No worries. Thank you very much.
So here from the American evening to the morning of Australia. Appreciate you so much. Good luck with your training, and I do hope to see you in the octagon again. As selfishly as that sounds, I hope to see you in there again one more time. Who knows? Easy for me, right?
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah. But again, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No, pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. Have a great day, man.
You too. See you, mate.